We're a week into the season, so let's take a look at some of the rookies. Dynasty leagues, but also redraft leagues, because we do have a very impressive crop. Michael Bolton, maybe, if I can push the right button. Yeah, there we go.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and what's the point in having a Honda if you can't show it off? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. Double bang, thumbs, you know how that works, I hope. So, normally on this day during the season, we would do buy low and sell high shows, but I don't want to do it just yet because, number one, just everyone needs to settle down on trades. It's a common thing in fantasy, just settle down on making 3 for 3 trades and whatever, right? Most of the time, you're going to make some mistakes. But the amount of data that we have is so small. So overreactions are rife. Now, there are very obvious things, like Dyson Daniels is not going to shoot 30% from 2. It's not going to happen. Julius Randle is not going to be a 100% mid-range shooter. Not going to happen. Right? These things are just not going to stick. One of the players we're talking about today's show is not going to be a 60% three-point shooter. Not going to happen. Right? But getting those things to actually work is hard. So we're going to do that next week. 2 weeks of data in, and then we really start to look at, okay, who's over, who's underperforming? What can we do with that stuff? So what we're doing in this show today is instead looking at rookies, how they've gone, how that compares to the starts of other draft classes, and what we can expect, I think, out of some of these guys. Now, you hear prognosticators and draft experts and people who think that they're draft experts and people who want to push back against draft experts all the time. 2024 draft was terrible. We knew it was bad heading in. It was bad when it happened. It was bad in their season. It was bad at Rookie of the Year. It was bad. But then you get, oh, maybe it's actually better than 2025. And, you know, there's some depth and there's good rotation players. And cool. It's not. All right. And then we heard that this draft was strong. And then everyone, whatever a consensus opinion is that forms, there's always a counter consensus that starts to rise up. And in the end, the counter consensus is usually wrong. And that's what we're getting here with this. So I just wanted to dig into a couple of things with this class. We're a week in. Rookies suck. Almost invariably. They're terrible. In the 2023 NBA rookie, 2023-2024 NBA season, 1 week into the season, again, incredibly small sample, we had 3 rookies who were top 120 players in that season. If you're aware, that is the Victor Wembanyama season. So he was one of the 3 top 120 players. The other one was Brandon Miller. I'll talk about his shoulder injury a little bit later on. It is looking worse and worse. We've got more Charlotte and Indiana. I'll do it in another show, probably the preview show. Charlotte and Indiana, just some real injury problems there. But Brandon Miller was a top 120 player. And if you remember, at the start of that season, Asar Thompson was on fire. He was a top 120 player. So we had 3 guys in the first week, top 120 guys. And of course, Asar fell off from there, and Miller and Wemby were fine. They were good. Last season, after the first week, we had 1 top 120 player. Can you guess who it was? It was Yves Missi, the 118th ranked player in that first week, where he looked like maybe he was going to be somewhat serviceable. Last season, we had no good fantasy rookies. There were periods of time when they were okay. End of season, Steph Castle was fine. There were periods where Alex Sarr was usable. There was one game that Zachary Ricochet was good. That's sort of where we're at. This season, 1 week in, we have 6 players that are top 120 guys. Now, one of those, to be completely fair, is Nick Clifford, who's played 1 game. But we've also got 3 other players who find themselves inside the top 150. So if you take Clifford out, add the other 3 in, we've got 8 guys as top 150 per game players to begin this season as rookies. And that's just not something that really we see at all. So when we talk about the value of these rookies and the start they're having, it is relatively unprecedented. Let's talk about some of them. What about the dominatrix? Let's start with him, VJ Edgecombe. Edgecombe started out with an absolute bang. We heard the news before the season he was going to start, which obviously elevated his value to be someone that you want to consider drafting and adding. But then he's outperformed anyone's expectation. How? Well, he's a top 20 player. He's 16th in points leagues. He's averaging 25 points a game with almost 6 rebounds and 6 assists and great steals, good blocks, and elite percentages. But when you look at this, right, when you look at these numbers, often, and you'll see when some of these guys, it's based on stuff that maybe can't hold. And there's definitely stuff here that probably can't hold. But he's hitting 40% from 3. Okay. 75 from the line, whatever. 50 from the field. We're not talking 60s. We're not talking 90 from the line. The 6 assists and 1.7 steals, yeah, they're high. 40 minutes is high, but only 24 usage. He looks unbelievably good. The question is going to be, of course, what happens when you get 30 minutes of Embiid? What happens when Paul George plays? Does anything impact the 40 minutes? I'm going to say no. Honestly, like, he won't play 40, but 37? I feel like he's going to. And the efficiency will drop. Like, he's not going to be a 50, 75, 40 guy. He's not going to be a 50, 40, 90 player. Like, he's not going to be that. I feel confident in saying that. He's just not going to be that good. But with the typical outlier type signs of overproduction is not really here. It's not high usage. It's not elite three-point shooting. It's not crazy steal numbers. There's a lot here that won't stick, yes. 68% at the rim. Is that going to be a real thing? I don't know. It could, though. 40% from 3? I don't know. Maybe. Steals, the assists? Possibly? I don't know. It is somewhat like Sal High-ish, but if he's being trusted to play this much VJ Edgecombe, he's going to be in position to be like one of the better fantasy rookies in the league, but that we've seen in recent times as well. Because this stuff is great. Again, I do expect an efficiency drop. I think 50% from the field is not real, like 45 maybe, 46. Maybe that's what you look at. Maybe. 4.5 assists, probably more realistic. 18 points, maybe that's more real. 19. But it's not a crazy scenario here to suggest that old mate Dominatrix is going to stick at a really high level. He has been the standout rookie so far. We've got a bunch of other guys we're going to talk about in a sec. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Quo. One of the tools that can help make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, which is formerly known as OpenPhone. It's the same great business phone system that you've heard me talk about before. It's just got a new name. And here's why that it can matter. Because every missed call you have in your business is money that's left on the table. And every customer conversation counts. You need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications and works right through an app on your phone or a computer. So you don't have to worry about carrying 2 phones. We think you're on the wire. You just have the one phone, just have an app to open things up to get that extra line in there. You might be a solo operator juggling everything or just part of a larger team. Quo can make it easy for you to stay responsive and professional. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonnba. That is quo.com/lockedonnba. If you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Today is also brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, SaaS was promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your team and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's just sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place, helping millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Everything from onboarding to payroll, IT access, it can all run automatically and perfectly in sync with Rippling. And right now, you get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnba. That is rippling.com/lockedonnba for 6 months free. We are here talking about rookies in the NBA and the outsized performance we've had from these guys. We're going to get in and talk about the next guy, which is probably a little bit more unrealistic to continue. Of course, I'm talking about the chicken, Cedric Coward. Coward obviously was a huge topic across the weekend. He had that ridiculous 6 of 6 shooting game, and he has been really good to start the season. A huge surprise to be sure. but a welcome one. He's the 62nd ranked player in category leagues for the season, 86th in points leagues, doing it all while playing 23 minutes a night. You can see that if you are watching this on YouTube, just to the left, you've got the two different roster percentages, which I realize writing ROS also stands for rest of seasons. My bad, it means rostered. So 34% on Yahoo, but he's 98% according to our advanced roster number on Basketball Monster. He is averaging 16.5 points a game. The problem I'm going to have with Coward rest of season is that he has no shot of doing this. Like, none. None whatsoever. It's been a really hot start. It's one of those ones where you go, wow, I wish I had have got it before all the big games. But there's no way. He was a very good shooter in college. 40%, no problem. Pretty good free throw guy. Really solid steals guy. So the 1.3 steals and 0.5 blocks, sure. Absolutely he can do that. But he's not going to be a high usage player. 17% usage, which we know is a huge thing for points leagues. Minutes, huge thing for points leagues. Not sure he's getting 30 plus. Not sure he's getting 20 plus usage. You're relying upon him at the moment in category formats. When you're talking about his value across the season, it's giving Christian Brown. The value is coming from one category, field goal percentage. And the field goal percentage is coming because he's hitting 60+% on threes and 74% on twos. He's going to have a cool period. Now, he can be a really strong, useful role player. I think he can turn into a very solid... Okay, you want to talk about an overall fantasy profile of where he might get to at some point in his career? This is just off the top of my head. Mikal Bridges, I think. Not someone who handles high usage. Someone who is a really strong real-life piece. Who gets you solid enough defensive numbers with high enough efficiency on low volume. And if you try and ramp it up, some of that other stuff pulls back, is my worry. And that's a good player. I don't think that's going to happen this season because, again, we need 30 minutes. Is he getting it? Is he playing over KCP? Is he playing over Wells? Not yet. He probably will. So I don't have any problem with rostering Cedric Coward at this point. I've got him in a couple of leagues. But in 2 weeks' time, I think we're going to be saying, what are we doing here with 10 points, 1.4 threes, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal? Like, what are we doing with that? I don't really see the extreme elevation. And this is the time of year. And it's depending on who and what sort of accounts you follow on social media and what you see, your opinions can get really swayed. Because on a night where he gets 20 points in his third game and hits 6 of 6 for 3, the toxic glazing accounts are going to be like, yeah, look at this, he did it and he shot 100%. But our mindset should be, yeah, not real though. Never going to happen. Not going to be a thing. And then all those other numbers pull back. What is supporting this long term? Is he a strong passer? Not really. He's not bad, but he's not strong. He's not a great rebounder. He's a solid enough defensive stat guy who's a good, solid impact player. But I think that we will be having this discussion in 2 weeks' time about Cedric Coward, and I don't think he will remain a 12-team league player, would be my guess. The next guy I think has probably got more hope of being able to stick, and that's Tre Johnson, who has done way more early on than I thought he would do. He's playing 27 minutes a night off the bat, coming off the bench. They don't have injured guys that are coming back to replace him. And in fact, later on in the season, you'll probably see, I think he either replaces Bob Carrington or CJ McCollum gets fake injured or traded. And he will start playing 32, 33 minutes a night down the stretch. Or maybe not even down the stretch, maybe sooner than that. It's been a real surprise from Tre, the 75th ranked player so far this season, top 100 in points leagues. 22 usage is not outrageous as well. His shooting numbers are high, but they're not crazy high. It's got a level of sustainability. 43 from 3, he's a good shooter. 43 as a rookie is hard to hold. But 39 maybe, he could do that. He could be a 39% shooter from 3. The thing that I'm going to have some concerns about are the 2-point numbers, which at the moment are absolutely through the roof for him, 53%. He's hitting 67% at the rim, and he was quite poor with that at Texas. One of the concerns with Tre as a fantasy prospect coming in was what else does he do? And we're seeing that reflected a bit here. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.3 steals. Now, he has blocked 1 shot a game, which I don't really think is anything real. And it's literally just been 1-1-1 across his 3 games. And now he's also dealing with a back problem. So it's been a really red-hot start. Not fueled by insane shooting. Very good shooting. Well above expectation shooting, but not insane. The usage is not crazy. And the minutes can actually go higher. The blocks will come down. The thing that we're going to need from him, though, is can he maintain 3 triples a game, get to 20 points, and get 3 assists? I think it's doable. He's also going to miss a free throw at some point. Like that's obviously going to happen. He's also, like, his free throw volume, 2 attempts, 0 and 4. I don't think he's going to be a particularly high volume free throw player. But way ahead of where I thought he would be. He will have cold stretches, but what I do think is that this role is almost bare minimum now. 22 usage, 27 minutes is almost bare minimum. If I was prioritizing Tre or Cedric, I would take Tre. Even though Cedric has outperformed him, I would take Tre Johnson over Cedric Coward if that is you're making any sort of decision there. Because I'm trying to look at what it means for the future, whose game can sort of translate forward, push forward, and give us more of that long-term fantasy appeal. That'd be how I view that at this point. The next one, I don't really know how to fully talk about Dylan Harper, because I really like him as a prospect. Very clear number 2 player to me. Very clear number 2 player in dynasty leagues in this class. Very clear. He started out very well. 91st ranked player in categories, 87th in points leagues. He's still only 32% rostered on Yahoo, which is surprising but eye-opening. He's also only 93% rostered according to Basketball Monster, which, again, is a little low. He's coming in with 25 usage, way higher than I thought he would come in initially, averaging 15, 5, and 5 with a steal. He's shooting only 33 from 3. Okay. 48 from the field overall. That's probably higher than we expected. But Harper is in a situation where I look at this and go, 26 minutes is low for a guy that is as good as he is. That should improve, but also there's the giant, like, I keep using this phrase today, the sword of Damocles. I don't even know if it's correct, like hanging over what happens with these guys when De'Aaron Fox returns. Someone's going to the bench, probably Julian Champagny. But that's 33 minutes or so of Fox that has to come back into the rotation. 33 minutes of somebody who is going to be a primary ball handler. Now, playing Steph Castle off ball will probably happen more, but where does Harper fit? He should be playing 30 minutes a night. But it's hard for me to look at the 26 he's playing now and go, yeah, adding Fox in will mean it goes higher. I hope it does. I don't think that San Antonio is going to sour on Steph Castle and start bringing his numbers down. I don't think that'll happen. So I'm a little worried about what this actually means for Dylan Harper. For as good as he's been, it is somewhat worrying to me as to how they're going to manage the playing time and where he goes. Because again, like, the numbers here are great. He's not like he's overperforming with his rim finishing, 53%. His three-point shooting is whatever. His long mid-ranges are at a high clip, and that probably comes down. But he's not getting by on being an elite shooter. He's getting by on getting you really good rebounds for his position. That's what he does. Assists, great. Steals, pretty good. Free throws, looking solid. Free throw attempts, pretty good. All of this is good. The problem for me is does the 25 usage hold? Almost definitely not. Do the ball handling reps hold? I would hope they do over Castle. I think that's possible. But does 26 minutes have scope to hit 31 without injury? And I would say no. I would say that's hard. Oh, I would say it's hard. It's not impossible, but it's no like, here is a clear way to do this. Again, if I was running the team, I'd just say you're playing 30 and Castle plays 24 off the bench because I'm a hater. Or I just value players different. But those two things are interchangeable. So that ends up being my concern with Harper. It's been impressive. Rookie point guards don't look this good. This is just not a real thing. They don't look this good, and he does. So you should have incredibly high hopes. This is a top 30 player by the end of his rookie contract, I would guess. Of course, the extension of Fox is a interesting little thing. I wonder how Fox goes sort of not playing as a point guard. Not that he's a high assist player, De'Aaron, and he played alongside Sabonis. So maybe Fox and Harper can get together and play, but I want to see how they all work next to each other. I'd like to see those two on the court together and what it means for Dylan Harper's production and what his numbers look like next to Fox and away from Fox. I think that'll be pretty telling. We've got more rookies to go through, including the number 1 overall pick. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus. Powered by Peloton IQ, the most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. It's training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan and stay motivated and reach that peak performance. The Peloton IQ system gives you real-time strength coaching. The screen that looks at you, go, hey, I wish it did. Imagine it was my voice saying, hey, doing that wrong. Hey, lift the weights you're weak. Do it better. But that's, in a nicer way, that's what it does. It's got the swivel screen to go from the tread onto the floor for strength training, counts your reps, tracks your reps, tells you what you're doing wrong, how to correct it to keep you safer and more polished. I don't know. Let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Let's talk Flagg. I think a lot of this with Cooper Flagg would depend on when we asked you the question, because his last game was terrible. 2 points, injured shoulder. I don't know. We haven't got an update on that just yet. It wasn't good. 2 games before, excellent. And that's where you go, oh yeah, I can see how he's a top 40 player already. People will be disappointed in him, but you have to have the correct expectation. The expectation that we set on this show is that he'd be maybe top 100 for the first 2 months, and then probably roll top 30 after that. Yeah, with obviously a gradiented transition into that. But he was going to struggle a lot with playing a position he's never played before on a team that's horribly constructed and dealing with the inefficiencies and the pressure. He is the youngest player in the NBA. He is 18. He's 18. He literally hasn't turned 19 yet. And he's already had a 20-point game in the NBA and is playing a position unfamiliar to him. He's averaging 13 and 5. They're not good numbers. 2.5 assists, 1 steal, half a block, 38%. One of the other concerns I had with Flagg is not only the efficiency, and you'll see that's terrible, 38 from the field, 27 from 3, but also playing out of position when he is literally a 4. He is a 4. He's playing at the 1, so it's harder to grab rebounds, and it is harder to block shots. Because this idiot, not him, the one who runs the team, decided we'd make the squad out of parts that don't fit, Flagg is in a suboptimal position. When we did all our initial projections and ideas about drafting him, I didn't for a million years think that he'd be playing at point guard. I thought he'd be playing at the 3 and shifting a lot across to the 4, and that just isn't happening at all. And that is causing problems overall with his game. So I think that we do need to reassess maybe what our expectations are for Cooper. But there's obvious low-hanging fruit here. He's not going to shoot under 30% from 3. He's not going to shoot under 40% from the field. That's just not going to be a thing. He's probably not going to hit 1 3 a game only, or have only 21 usage. He's still 114th and 115th in points leagues, which again is basically bang on what we thought would happen initially, with improvements coming down the line. The team needs to figure out the best way forward. To me, it's obvious, and we saw them do it yesterday with Davis at center. Whether they do that quickly or not, I don't know. His rim finishing, terrible. Shooting, terrible. It's all bad. The shooting stuff is bad. The role is bad. But I have supreme confidence in Cooper Flagg. If there was ever a time, and there's probably not, but if there was ever a time in a dynasty format to buy low on Cooper Flagg, you're right here. You are absolutely right there, right now with it, right here. This is a top 10 player. He's a top 5 dynasty guy, probably. And it is just a shaky first week through reasons which are very easily explainable. I talked about, like, his last game, how bad it was. 2 points, 2 rebounds. But the game before, 22, 4 and 4 with a block on 57%. The game before, 18, 5 and 6, steal, block, 43%. Shooting, like, they're fine. That's, if you add those 2 games together, 20 points a game, 2 threes, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, half a steal, 1 block. Bang, that's top 40. It's top 50 probably. Just a bad opening game and a terrible last game have dragged stuff down. And that happens in small samples. But it's important to look into that and get why it is where it is and how those things have dragged things up or down. I said that we had 6 top 120 players. One of those was the one game of Nick Clifford because of his high defensive stats in that game. So that's the other 5 guys we've talked about. But I want to talk about 2 players from Charlotte, who are top 150 guys. And let's start with the big areola, Kon Knueppel, who, with Brandon Miller's season literally in jeopardy, we got the dreaded report from Chris Haynes today saying getting a second opinion. And in general, when someone gets a second opinion, they get that second opinion because they don't like the first one. Now, a lot of people, when I did tweet that out, they were like, oh, maybe the first one said, no, you're fine. And he said, no, I feel sore. I need to get it checked out more. That is almost never what happens. I can't think of that really happening at any point. I know if you're a baseball fan or a fantasy baseball person, as soon as a pitcher has an arm issue and then you say they're getting a second opinion, it means they're having Tommy John. Because the first guy was like, you need Tommy John. He went, I refuse. I refuse to submit to this. Let's find some other one who will tell me something different. That is usually what it means. So I'm going to guess the first opinion was like, bro, this subluxation's bad. You might need surgery on a ligament here. That's my worry. I hope it's not true for Brandon Miller. I hope it's not. But that's my worry. And then he said, oh, let's see if someone else sees something different, if I can play through it or work through it or whatever. That is my concern. How this leads to the big areola? Well, we're hoping that we get some juicy lines from Kon Knueppel now, because he should be starting full-time next to, I would guess, Colin Sexton. Knueppel has been pretty good. He started 2 of the 3 games that he's played. One of them was because of the Miller injury. He started opening night and then was taken out of the lineup to play Sexton for whatever reason. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 1.3 assists. He is a better passer than this, and I think that with Miller out, he'll get a little bit more ball handling. Like Cedric Coward, there is an unsustainability here. He's very low usage at the moment, 17%. That should rise. But he's shooting 58% on threes, 55% overall. And weirdly, for a man that I think missed 4 free throws in total at college, maybe it was 6, he's at 50% from the line. So this happened to him in Summer League as well, where his first couple of games, he couldn't hit free throws. He's 2 or 4 from the line. His shooting numbers are going to come down. And it's largely because his rim numbers are not good. He just hasn't missed a mid-ranger, and he's at 58% on threes. That is going to come down, assuredly, no problem. But what he is now in line to do is see the usage go up, see the minutes floor rise. So even when this other stuff does fall away, the shooting in particular, I think will fall, we are going to see a scenario where Knueppel has more of those peripheral supporting stats to keep him relevant. He is only 21% rostered on Yahoo. He is a must-roster player while we hear about Brandon Miller. He's a must-roster player until we hear anything more, or at least until Miller returns. The shooting will drop, but I do think that minutes, usage, assist rate will all come up to keep him around that 120 mark for chunks of the season. Pretty sizable chunks, I would say. And then let's just talk about his teammate, the big cock, Ryan Kalkbrenner, who we didn't know whether he would start or not. We thought they would go back and forward on this. We posited that he is the best per-minute fantasy producer out of him and Moussa Diabate and Mason Plumlee, and I worried it'd be a little bit of back and forward. In the last game, we got a little bit of that back and forward. Even though we started Kalkbrenner, he played just 22 minutes when he played 27 and 26 in the first 2 games. But his production has been great. He's the 140th ranked player. He's 150th in points leagues. He's averaging 9 and 8 with a block. And one thing that will stand out, and this is carrying his value, and this is important to note, is he's at 88% from the field. Nobody will stay there. It is worth noting that he is literally only taking shots around the rim. No mid-ranges, no paint shots really, no threes. Just rim. Now, men of distinction are known to be really magnetized into the rim, and Kalkbrenner is one of those apparently. But even so, 88% is just not going to be something that is a real number. And then you have the worry of Charles Lee throwing Diabate out there for 4 or 5 extra minutes and Kalkbrenner coming down. One thing that I think can improve is the block rate. But he is going to be quite sort of, let's say one-dimensional. Your traditional big. The rebounds, blocks, field goal percentage. He showed some ability to be a 3-point shooter that has not been uncorked at all. So I wonder if they go to that at any point. He's not an assist guy. He's not getting steals. He hasn't even attempted a free throw, I don't think. Has he? Let's have a look. He hasn't even attempted a single free throw, so we'll see how that goes. And he was at 50% in preseason from the line. From in preseason, he was 78 from the field as well. So there's going to be high numbers. He might be a 70% shooter. That is possible. He could end up a 70% field goal guy, which is useful. And that helps his scoring load as well. But while Kalkbrenner should be on rosters in category leagues and maybe in points leagues for 150 player deep leagues, there is some risk of that reversion of that field goal coming back to say 60. Say it comes back to 65, then the scoring's down, and then it becomes like, then he becomes Eve Missy, which is not good. So while it's good at the moment, I'm not 100% convinced if there's elevation in this. They're the rookies I wanted to highlight, but I could have talked about more guys. Walter Clayton has been really good in his limited minutes. His path to a large role is not really there. Yegor Djelman has been on a lot of rosters. I don't think he should be. Sion James for deeper leagues. Two sort of weird big men power forward center hybrids, Derek Queen and Colin Murray-Boyles. Opportunities might be opening up for them that you can take a look at. Javon Small is outperforming what we expected. Jeremiah Fears outside of last game has been much better than I thought. It's been a really strong start outside of Ace Bailey, who probably will be better, but I don't know that we need to hold him in 12-team leagues. And I hope that this show just gave you something a little bit different that I'm probably not going to do again this season, just to give you an idea of the strength of these guys, what is real, what is not, because they're always the hyped things. Is this rookie real? We haven't seen it before, so I guess it is. But let's try and work out whether it is or not. And that's what we did. I hope. Thumb it up. Let me know your opinions on these guys. Edgecombe, Coward, Johnson, Harper, Flagg, Kon Knueppel, Kalkbrenner, or another rookie that you want to talk about. Throw that in as well. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.